A new Wordle puzzle is online. Click on the link to play.
Listening to the following video may give you clues. Please like and share the videos.
Pedrie Wannenburg to be remembered at Loftus URC on Saturday. The Vodacom Bulls have announced that Pedrie Wannenburg will be remembered at the game on Saturday.
The Argentinian was one of the greatest players in the history of rugby and was a key figure during the club's glory years. In his later years, he notably switched his focus from playing to coaching and was honored by his club and country.
The Vodacom Bulls will hold a minute's silence before the game against Benetton. Pedrie Wannenburg.
Pedrie Wannenburg is being remembered at this weekend's Loftus URC game in memory of the player who passed away in a car accident a few years ago. The former South African international had played for the Bulls from 2002 to 2010, winning over 100 Super Rugby caps in the process.
He was also a member of the Springboks, making 20 appearances over a decade. The 16-year-old driver is yet to be identified, but the South African international made his Springbok debut against France in 2002.
He later won several Super Rugby titles with the Pretoria-based Bulls. Wannenburg made his Test debut a few months later.
The upcoming match will honor the memory of the legendary player, who played for the Vodacom Bulls. Former Springboks player Pedrie Wannenburg was tragically killed last November in a car accident in Houston, Texas.
He was 41. Pedrie Wannenburg's death is a tragedy that has shocked the rugby community.
In 2001, the Harris County Sheriff's Department conducted a traffic checkpoint and the driver, Ali Alabadi, 16, drove away and struck another car. Thankfully, all 4 drivers were unharmed.
After the tragic incident, the Vodacom Bulls announced a moment of silence before the match. This was a fitting tribute to the Bull of Ford.
The Vodacom Bulls honored her at this weekend's game against the Houston SaberCats. This match is scheduled for a 7 p.m. kickoff.
You can read more about Pedrie Wannenburg by clicking on the link below. Pedrie Wannenburg's career.
Pedrie Wannenburg will be remembered at Saturday's game against the Loftus URC after the former Springbok player was tragically killed in a car accident in the United States. Pedrie was one of the best wingers of his generation, amassing over 100 Super Rugby caps and making 20 appearances for the Springboks in the 2000s.
His career will be celebrated at the Loftus URC game as part of a special tribute to his legacy. A former national team mentor and Lions CEO, Wannenburg won his first cap against France in 2002 and went on to win several Super Rugby titles with the Pretoria Bulls.
He also played for Vodacom in the 2000s and became one of the youngest players in Super Rugby to reach 100 caps. In addition to his career at the Loftus URC, Wannenburg also played for the Currie Cup, Ulster, Castors and the USA.
After retiring from the game, he started coaching in the US. Pedrie Wannenburg's career will be celebrated at this Saturday's Loftus URC game.
The former Springbok was tragically killed in a car accident in the United States on his way back home. He was a natural leader and a strong team player who developed from an underdog to a dependable squad member.
The former Springbok coach believes that people underestimate the importance of a selfless player who can take care of his teammates. With Vodacom Bulls, a team that played in the Vodacom United Rugby Championship, have announced that a moment of silence will be held for Wannenburg before the game.
The game is scheduled for 7 p.m. at Aveva Stadium. The moment of silence will be followed by the start of the match and will be followed by a memorial service.
Pedrie Wannenburg's death. The Bulls have confirmed that a moment of silence will be observed before their match against the Benetton Hurricanes on Saturday.
A moment of silence will be held prior to the start of the game, which is set to take place at 7 p.m. The moment of silence is to honor the memory of Pedrie Wannenburg, who tragically passed away in a multi-vehicle crash in Texas.
The former Springbok, who played for the Bulls from 2002 to 2010, amassed over 100 Super Rugby caps for the Pretoria Union after retiring from rugby in 2010. Wannenburg went on to establish his business interests in the United States, where he later coached the team of the Denver Stampede.
Wannenburg was a big, Borzian, from the Southern Cape who reached a height of 6 feet 5 inches in his socks. He was a player who would never reach his full potential, but he was still able to compete with the legendary Springboks.
Pedrie Wannenburg was a former Springboks player who died in a road traffic accident on July 5, 2016. He represented South Africa with distinction during 20 Test matches in the Major League Rugby in the early 2000s.
Sadly, he was killed when a 16-year-old suspect hit his car after leading police on a high-speed chase. Fortunately, Wannenburg's wife Yvette and daughter Isabel were not seriously injured.
Pedrie Wannenburg was a legendary player and a true gentleman. He represented the Bulls with distinction and was capped by the Springboks 20 times.
The Bulls honored him by dedicating a special match in his memory. A special tribute to Pedrie Wannenburg will take place during Saturday's game.
If you'd like to pay tribute to this rugby legend, you can make the arrangements ahead of time. Pedrie Wannenburg's memory.
Pedrie Wannenburg's memory to have special meaning at Loftus Versfeld on Saturday. The 41-year-old former Springbok and Loftus Versfeld legend passed away tragically in a car crash in the United States.
Despite his tragic death, his memory will live on. The Loftus Versfeld faithful are preparing to pay tribute to the legendary player.
The former Springbok will be honored at Saturday's Loftus UBC match with a moment of silence before the match against Benetton. The South African was tragically killed in a multi-vehicle accident in Texas in October 2010.
He played for the Bulls between 2002 and 2010 and accumulated over 100 Super Rugby caps for the Pretoria Unioner. Former Springbok made his debut for the Springboks against France in Paris in 2002.
In the early 2000s, he was a key part of the Vodacom Bulls championship winning squad. His death left the club and its fans stunned and incomprehensive.
The tributes will be a fitting way to pay tribute to a great South African. Pedrie Wannenburg's tribute.
Pedrie Wannenburg's tribute at the Vodacom Bulls match against Benetton on Saturday will commemorate the late South African rugby player. The 16-year-old driver who smashed into Wannenburg's car earlier this year has yet to be named.
The former Springbok made his Test debut against France in 2002 and won several Super Rugby titles with the Pretoria-based Bulls. Pedrie Wannenburg was a Loftus legend who passed away after a tragic car accident in the USA.
The 41-year-old, who represented the Springboks with great aplomb between 2002 and 2007, was tragically killed while fleeing from a car stopped by police. After being airlifted to the hospital, he was pronounced dead.
His 8-year-old son was seriously injured but survived. Pedrie Wannenburg was a former Springbok and a member of the Sa-21 team that won the World Championship.
He later became an assistant coach with Austin Elite. His death stunned many players, including fellow Springbok captain Dawie de Villiers, who posted a tribute message alongside a picture of the pair on Facebook.
The two were pictured together in a 2004 photo with Bulls who will hold a minute's silence before the Benetton game in Pedrie Wannenburg's honor.
A tribute to the South African rugby player will be held before the match at Loftus Stadium. While there will be no formal tribute to Wannenburg, the players and fans are encouraged to share a moment of silence before the game.